Hey everyone, Andrew back again and welcome to another video, and for today's video I'm here to do my top 10 horror movies of 2018. Now before we get into my official top 10 list, I quickly want to say I think this year has been absolutely phenomenal in terms of horror films and movies in general in fact, but in terms of horror it's been phenomenal. I think we've had a lot of success with both mainstream theatrical releases and the more independent releases. There's been good variety across the horror genre portrayed this year, I think, and most importantly we've seen a lot of pretty unique and different ideas brought to the genre, which has definitely been a long time coming, and hopefully that continues on in the future. So all in all, I think it's been an absolutely phenomenal year for horror, the best it's been for the past few years most definitely. Now before we get on to my official top 10, I'm wanting to give a quick honourable mention to one film, and it may surprise some of you that it didn't quite make my top 10 list, and that of course is Halloween 2018. I've only seen the movie once and I was disappointed after seeing it in theatres, and I still kind of stand by that, kind of stand by my initial thoughts on the film. However, I wanted to mention it as an honourable mention because it wasn't a bad film, and I definitely think it's going to grow on me once I get the home media releases and give it numerous rewatches. But also I think it's done wonders for the genre, especially from a mainstream theatrical standpoint, and hopefully with the success of that film we start seeing some of the bigger franchises like Friday the 13th for example get more movies. So yeah, with that being said, let's finally get on to my top 10 lists. So like all my top 10 lists, I'm going to start at number 10 and work my way down to number 1. Now this was kind of a difficult list to put these movies in a particular order because a lot of them rank pretty close to each other, but this is how I've ranked my top 10 of 2018 in terms of horror films. So sitting at number 10 goes to Mandy, and this is a prime example of what I mean by unique and something different. Now this essentially is a revenge film, but it's a very unique and different one. I thought Nicolas Cage was fantastic in this. It has some really good gore effects, and it's just a really nightmarish, trippy experience. So that's Mandy at number 10. Sitting at number 9 is definitely a sleeper hit of 2018 in my opinion, and there's been quite a few. There's a few more on my list in fact, and that is Boarding School. Now unfortunately I don't really hear too many people talk about this film, which is a shame because I thought it was really well done. This one centres around a small group of kids that get sent to a boarding school by their parents, and as the movie goes on, as the story unfolds, you begin to realise why the parents have sent the kids to the school and the fate that's in store for these children if they don't do something to rectify the situation. Really good. The characters were really good. It had good atmosphere. The storyline was really interesting, and it had a good twist ending. If you're a fan of The Visit by M. Night Shyamalan and you liked that one quite a lot, I think you'll really like this because it did have similarities to that film. So yeah, that's Boarding School at number 9. Sitting at number 8 is a film that's got quite a bit of flack, and personally I don't see why, and that is Bore. So this one sits at number 8. I love this movie. To me this is a really good representation of what a creature feature should be. It has a good cast of characters, great setting, and good Aussie humour, and most importantly I thought the boar and creature effects were really good. So yeah, definitely top 10 material for me. I loved this, and it sits at number 8. Next up at number 7, unfortunately I don't own a physical copy of this movie as of right now, but I have seen it on Netflix, and that is Terrifier. Now this movie I thought overall was awesome. I had a lot of fun with this one. I really liked Art the Clown. I thought he's a great villain, really creepy, and I loved his look, so hopefully we see more of him in the future. I thought the beginning of the movie built the movie up really, really well, and the kills were absolutely phenomenal, really over the top and gory. However, there was one reason why this film kind of positioned the film on my list where it did, and that was definitely the chase sequences. It was very, very chasey, and I felt if they'd kind of toned that down a little bit, this movie could have definitely made my top 5. But certainly, again, top 10 material, so that's Terrifier at number 7. Alright, sitting at number 6 goes to Strangers Prey at Night. This movie, I think, out of every horror film, has had a lot of mixed opinions, and I can kind of understand why, but I thought this was a really, really good follow-up to the original. It's very different to the original. Is it as good as the original? I don't think so. I still prefer the original overall, but I thought this was a really, really good sequel, something different. I loved the trailer park, caravan park setting. It gave a really sort of creepy atmosphere and an isolated feel to the film. The characters overall I thought were really good. Great throwback vibe to the film, and the pool scene is definitely still one of the most iconic scenes from 2018 in terms of horror. So overall, Strangers Prey at Night, awesome film, and it sits at number 6. Alrighty, so now we are down to my top 5. So sitting at number 5 is another sleeper hit of the year. I haven't really heard too many people talk about this film, which is a shame, and that is Upgrade. This movie is absolutely fantastic. Sci-fi horror, so if you are a sci-fi horror fan, I highly recommend checking this one out if you haven't already. Again, this is kind of a different take on a revenge style movie. They use a lot of sci-fi elements to bring something kind of different into the revenge genre, and it's done really, really well. Great cast of characters, the storyline was really, really interesting, good practical effects, good soundtrack, and it just had a really awesome sort of throwback vibe to classic 80s sci-fi, especially the Terminator. It had a lot of references and elements to the original Terminator. Probably the most interesting thing about this film is a lot of the technology within this movie could really happen in the not so distant future, and it's kind of scary to think that. But yeah, Upgrade, absolutely fantastic film, so that sits at number 5. Sitting at number 4 is another kind of sleeper hit of this year. Yes, there's a lot of sleeper hits on this list, and that is Cargo. This is an Australian horror film, and it's kind of a interesting take on the infected / zombie genre. I really, really liked the way they did this film. I loved the outback setting, the cinematography is fantastic, but most importantly, this had a really, really interesting storyline, and overall a really, really good cast, which I think definitely made this movie what it is. So this one is essentially about a family of 3, a father, a mother, and a young baby, and they basically live in a pandemic where people have been infected. They turn into zombie-like people, and something happens to the wife. She ends up getting infected. Once you get infected, you only have 48 hours to survive before you turn. And then something happens to the father, and he has limited time to basically find a safe haven for his baby. This one also has a really, really interesting and well done Aboriginal storyline throughout this film as well, which I really, really liked. And overall, I just thought this was a really, really interesting take on the infected / zombie genre. So again, if you have not seen this one, highly recommend Cargo. Loved this movie a lot. Okay, and sitting at number 3 is Summer of '84. I probably don't really need to spend too much time on this film because I know quite a few have already seen this. I thought this was absolutely fantastic. Great 80s throwback. I really, really loved the cast of characters. The storyline, while nothing new, I thought was really, really well done. And this movie surprised me towards the end because it definitely went somewhere where I wasn't really expecting it to be. It took a very, very dark turn towards the end, which I really, really appreciated. So that is Summer of '84. Absolutely loved this one, and that sits at number 3. Sitting at number 2 and 1 are really probably no surprise to any horror fan that has seen these movies this year, and it's probably really no surprise that these movies are ranked where they are for me either. So sitting at number 2 goes to A Quiet Place. This is what I'm talking about, where we see something completely different and unique brought into the horror genre. Nothing like this, at least as far as I've seen, has ever been released. Just such an absolutely phenomenal concept. Some people could argue that the creature designs are kind of generic looking, and while I can't really argue with that, overall I just thought this was an absolutely phenomenal experience from start to finish. Great characters, really, really unique and different concept, which I really appreciated, and just such an absolutely phenomenal experience. So for quite a while this was my number 1. I didn't think anything would beat it out, however one movie has. So sitting at number 2 goes to A Quiet Place. So number 1, again, this is probably going to be no surprise to most of you. That goes to this absolutely amazing masterpiece of a movie, Hereditary. Wow, what can I say about this film that really hasn't been said already? Not a lot, really. I was really late to the party on this one. I didn't check this one out in theatres, and I was quite late to picking it up once it hit Blu-ray and DVD. But this was well worth the wait. This was an absolutely amazing movie from start to finish. This pretty much is horror perfection in modern day. Modern masterpiece easily. 10 out of 10 for me. I loved the storyline. I was really, really invested and interested in this movie from start to finish. The cast of characters were absolutely phenomenal. This one definitely made me feel unsettled. It made me even feel paranoid at times, and genuinely creeped out, which again, for a seasoned horror fan like myself, doesn't happen too often. And when a movie can do that, I think it's been very, very successful. It's done its job. But yeah, absolutely loved this. I loved how the story unfolded. It didn't really give too much away. There was a slow build up to it, and everything was revealed really, really well at the end, I thought. But yeah, I don't really have much more to say than that. Absolutely masterpiece of a film. Loved it. So that's Hereditary at number 1. Alrighty, so there you go. That was my top 10 horror movies of 2018. Let me know what you think of my picks in the comment section below. And I'm also keen to hear your guys' top 10 horror movies or just movies in general of the year. So either let me know in the comment section below, or better still, if you guys feel like doing a video response to this, that would be awesome. This will be my last video before Christmas, so I'm just wanting to wish all of you a Merry and safe Christmas. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.